Hey everyone, welcome to the video. This is where we're going over tonight's 7-game NBA slate for tonight on Draftkings, and it's actually a pretty solid slate, so I am looking forward to it. And before we continue, if you guys could leave a like, and if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. Really helps me out, really appreciate it. And also follow me on Twitter at ChrisPennell16. And if you're interested in the NBA spreadsheets I build every single night with projections, values, my cheat sheets, my defense versus position charts, updated all the way up until lock, so you get the most up-to-date info, and my Discord chat as well. Links down in the description below for my Patreon. And without further ado, I say we get right into the video. And if you're playing NFL, by the way, and check out my NFL videos, I recommend you should. I have like 4 videos out for tomorrow's slate, so if you're interested, go check them out. All right, anyway, let's get into this. So up top, it's the most obvious play of the night. It's James Harden at 12,900. And the main thing here is that Westbrook is not going to be in this game, and there's just really no getting around not playing James Harden today. You pretty much have to do it. He has been on absolute fire the past 2 games. He had 84 points and 80 points, and he a 48% usage rate in both games as well. He hit 23s the past 2 games. He's taken 33 3-point attempts, shooting about 60%. I mean, he has been hot. 55 points, 54 points. He is unstoppable when he's hitting threes like that, and he's in good form right now, so hopefully that shooting groove continues tonight, and I definitely think it could. And without Russell Westbrook on the court this season, these are smaller sample sizes, but he has a 46.9% usage rate, averaging 2.19 points per minute. That's insane. 2.19 points per minute. So let's say he gets like near 40 minutes tonight. So let's just say he gets 40 minutes. That means if he had that average, he'd be getting over 80 fantasy points tonight, which he's done the past 2 games. It's definitely possible. It just depends on if he's hitting his threes or not. And he'll get to the free throw line. He actually hasn't the past 3 games. Only 8 attempts, 5 attempts, 6 attempts, shooting 100% from the free throw line. But when it gets to the free throw line, those are free anywhere from like 6 to 15 points every single night. So I got like James Harden here, and I mean, it's the late game as well. So if you fade Harden, just know that there's a 90 to 100 point upside here. To be honest, that's a little aggressive, but 80 to 100 point upside here with James Harden coming in. And I would not feel safe if you fade James Harden because he's got the latest game of the night at 9 p.m. But I think there's another game as well. But James Harden, he's going to come in, and he's made 23s the past 2 games. He's going to be firing away. No Russell Westbrook. Just makes all the sense in the world to want to play James Harden tonight, so that's something I'm definitely going to be doing. I'll find the salary to do so. There's actually some solid value options, not like any like last night we had Anthony Melton and Tyus Jones as great value options, and Mike Scott and Marquise Chris, who broke the slate. So there's not like a ton of those just absolute bare minimum guys, but there's some okay low 4K to 3K guys that we can play tonight to be able to fit him in. And obviously I'm playing James Harden. I can't tell you guys I like Luka or Giannis because I'm not going to be able to play both of them. So I'm going to play James Harden. Giannis has a great matchup versus Cleveland, but that game could honestly get to a blowout quick. Kyrie Irving's going to be out, Westbrook's out, Jimmy Butler, not really too interested versus Dallas, but Bradley Beal, I think he's an interesting GPP option at 9,300. I can't really see the whole world playing him like they have been. Like Bradley Beal's been chalked the past 5 games he's been in, but everyone's going to play James Harden. Everyone's going to play Paul George, so he does fall in a price range that should be lower owned tonight. And I gotta say, he has sucked. I say sucked. I mean, 43 and 44 doesn't suck, but it's more than what it's less than what we'd want from Bradley Beal. But the past 2 games he's been pretty darn awful. But I just love point guards, shooting guards versus Memphis. And this game features a 235.5 point over-under, which is by far the highest on the slate. It's about 10 points higher than the second one. And it's only a 1.5 point spread, so it's a very tight spread. It's in Memphis's favor. So this game should be fantasy points galore. Both teams play super fast as well and 0 defense. Memphis is 6th in pace of play, while Washington is 5th. Washington is also the worst defensive unit in the NBA right now, and Memphis is 4th. So this is one of the best game stacks. Not one of the best. It is the best game stack of the night. And he's going to be forced to play big minutes. He's got 1.23 points per minute on the year, over a 30% usage rate. Bradley Beal, I think he's a fantastic play. I mean, the past 2 games, 0 for 7 from 3, 1 for 5. He's not going to not hit a 3-pointer in this game. I'd assume he's going to get 40-plus points here with upside of 60-plus. We've seen it. It's a great matchup. Memphis is bottom 5 when it comes to defending guards. So Bradley Beal, I think he's an excellent GPP play tonight. I don't know how easy it's going to be able to fit in. You're going to play James Harden. You're going to play Paul George. Are you going to be able to fit in Bradley Beal? I think that's a pretty good question. Might be a little bit, I'm not saying you should fade Paul George, but if you want to get a little different, you could play Bradley Beal and just hope Paul George sucks, but I do not see that happening, so it's not something I recommend. If you can fit in all 3, I think that's a fantastic way to go because those are my 3 favorite spend-ups of the night. But speaking of Paul George, we should probably talk about him here. So he comes in at 8,300, I believe. Yeah, 8,300. Going up against Chicago, which they're not great defensively. Now, he's not going to probably see any run up at power forward, but they suck versus power forwards. But it doesn't really matter. I don't care about the matchup here. Indy was a really tough matchup, but there was no Kawhi Leonard. Played 36 minutes, 36 points, 62 fantasy points. He's fresh off a 46-point outing versus Minnesota last night, where he was 6 for 15 from deep. Had 46 points, 66 fantasy points. So I think Paul George is a fantastic play tonight, especially with no Kawhi Leonard. That's really the reason we have interest with him. George has a near 40% usage rate and over 1.3 points per minute with Kawhi off the court. So Paul George is another staple of my lineups tonight. I'll tell you right now, my core plays will be James Harden and Paul George. I am not going to go into tonight's slate without either one of them. So definitely the guys I am interested in. If I can somehow fit in Bradley Beal, I think that's a good way to go, but I'm not sure how easy that's going to be tonight. So we'll just have to see if any value opens up. But another guy I have interest in is Pascal Siakam here at 7,900. I think he's a pretty solid option because, once again, Fred VanVleet is expected to be doubtful for this game. I know it's listed as questionable on Draftkings, but I believe it says he's expected to be doubtful. So we're going to have to assume he's going to be out. And without Fred VanVleet on the court, we don't really see much of a difference with Siakam. He's got a 20% usage rate, and actually his points per minute rate goes down to 1.8 points per minute. I'm not really going to look too much into that. I think Siakam's still a solid play on the year. He's averaging 1.17 points per minute just in general. And I like him a lot here versus Brooklyn. Brooklyn is known for struggling with big men. Now, he's going to see power forward run mostly, and they're actually ranked 8th versus power forwards. But he should be able to overpower Taurean Prince here. So I have no issues with Siakam. If he sees any run at center, he should be able to smash there. Brooklyn's also top 10 in pace of play, and Toronto is 13. So this game has some decent pace to it. It's not going to be a track meet like the Memphis game and the Memphis and Wizards game, but still should be a decently fast pace. Brooklyn's worse defensively than Toronto, but both teams are kind of middle of the road when it comes to defense. 219 total in the game isn't totally inviting, but it's not terrible either. So I think Siakam is a solid play. I think he can get you over 40 fantasy points in this matchup, which isn't too bad at 7,900. So I do have some interest in Siakam. I also like his teammate Kyle Lowry here right below him at 7,800. Obviously, because no Fred VanVleet, he's going to get the biggest bump here. And I really just talked about this game, so I'm going to keep this somewhat shorter. But, without VanVleet, this offense is going to run completely through Lowry and Siakam. And this is a great individual matchup for Kyle Lowry. Brooklyn ranks 28th versus point guard, so I do like the matchup there. He's going to see close to 40 minutes, and I think he can hit 40 to 45 fantasy points in this matchup. And, the last 2 games, he sucked from deep, which, kind of explains why he's been doing so bad. He had 31 points versus Chicago, played 39 minutes, was 3 for 15 from the field, 1 for 8 from deep. Then the last game, he was 0 for 7 from 3, 1 for 8 from the field, 5 minutes, 23 points. He's going to shoot better than that on most nights. So I do like Kyle Lowry here at 7,800. I think he's a very, very strong play tonight. Then in GPPs, it's 3 guys right in a row, but you can go with Spencer Dinwiddie. He's just a model of consistency, and he's at 7,700, so the price has come down. It's a tougher matchup versus Toronto, but he's solid every night. He's going to get you 30-plus minutes, and he's going to get you around 40 fantasy points. If you just look, 40 points, 39 points, 38 points, 40 points, 44, 65, 38, 43, 42, 36. If you want 40 points tonight, you can play Spencer Dinwiddie. He's got upside of more. He's just a usage monster without Kyrie Irving or Caris LeVert on the court, so do have some interest in Spencer Dinwiddie. Not a core play for me, just because I'm not going to be able to play all these 7K guys, because if I'm playing James Harden, I'm going to have to find some salary somewhere. But Spencer Dinwiddie is a pretty strong play tonight. You could also look at Ja Morant and GPPs. Not my favorite play in the world, and I've actually never played. Where'd he go? I've actually never played him this season, but Washington's just so bad defensively. You could go with him. He's got upside. He's got a lower floor as well, though. 28 points versus Phoenix, then 41, then 22, then 53, then 44, 46, 34, 23, 44, 42. He's a GPP play only for me. If you're just game stacking this up, I wouldn't mind Ja Morant. He's expected to be back for tonight's game. Jonas Valanciunas, you could also look for him in GPPs. Washington is bottom 2 when it comes to guarding centers, but he has been bad the past 2 games. Only played 19 minutes last night, where he had 18 fantasy points, 25 minutes versus Phoenix, 18 fantasy points, then 32 points, 21 points. He's been a little rough, but before that, he was just crushing the world with 57 points, 53, 60, and 34, 15, 18. So he's pretty hit or miss, so that's why he's only a GPP play only for me. But if you're game stacking this up, don't mind throwing Valanciunas in there. He's normally pretty good on a points per minute basis. I believe he's about 1.2 points per minute on this season. So he's good on that basis, but the minutes, he's never really going to see 30-plus minutes. But this is a good game environment, so I wouldn't mind having shares of Valanciunas in game stacks. Probably not a cash game play for me whatsoever. And then again, if you're just game stacking this up, I'm sorry it's like a broken record, but this game is just such an elite game environment. You could go with Rui Hachimura here at 6,900. He's just going to continue to see big minutes with Thomas Bryant off the court. I mean, if you look at the recent minutes, 43, 39, 37, 33, and he's been solid. 39 points, 26, 31, 39. Love the game environment here. Memphis sucks on defense in all aspects. It's a fast-paced game environment. So Rui Hachimura, definitely someone you could consider at 6,900. You could also play the best player in the NBA, and Davis Bertans here at 6,800. The guy is just straight fire from deep. He has been so good. I mean, 8 for 12 from deep versus Charlotte, 50 fantasy points, 6 for 12, 36 points, 5 for 13. Rough shooting night, but still 41 fantasy points, 10 boards, 19 rebounds. He's not just a one-trick pony. That he can do other things than shoot threes. I mean, he'll get rebounds. He'll get an assist or two in there, maybe get a block, but he can rebound the ball. He's not just going to stand in the corner and shoot threes all game. He is pretty involved, and he's going to shoot 10 plus threes every single game pretty much. He's shot no less than 12 since December 3rd, so definitely have some interest in Bertans and game stacks. The guy's been solid. Now the price is to the moon, so I really couldn't recommend him in cash games, but man, if you're doing a GPP stack of this game, you can't leave out Davis Bertans here because this is an excellent game environment for someone that shoots threes all day. And he's just, I don't know if you guys saw that video on Twitter, but they were just showing him shooting 3-point shots from like 40 feet out, and he just would not miss. And he was just running and catching and shooting. He wasn't even setting up. So, Bertans, he's an excellent GPP play on this slate. 6,800 is a little bit of a price to pay, but definitely someone you could have interest in. Then Jaren Jackson here at 6,500. So last night, and he went absolutely ballistic. 43 real-life points, 9 for 15 from deep, 55 fantasy points. I was on the DK Live app just checking in on this game. I believe, I forget what I was watching. I think I was just trying to see what Giannis was doing. Or no, Tyus Jones and Melton. So I swear, every time the thing updated, it was a blue Jaren Jackson hits a 3-pointer. I thought the app was broken because it was like 3 in a row at one point. I was like, is this even right? So I had to go double check some other sites, and the guy just kept blazing 3. My gosh, he's not going to do that every single night ever. Might be his best 3-point shooting outing of the year, but he's a decent option versus Washington here. They suck versus power forwards and centers, and we know the guy's got upside. Now, the problem is he likes to foul guys. I mean, 5 fouls last game, then 6, 5, 4. That's the only problem. And I feel like if I play Jaren Jackson, he'll foul out of the game immediately. He'll probably pick up 3 fouls in the first 7 minutes, but definitely someone to keep on your GPP radar. He's got upside, and he hasn't been bad the past few games. 55 points, 40 points, 30, 37. So definitely someone you can have on your radar. And it's kind of a correlation that Jonas Valanciunas has been pretty bad the past 2 games. So someone to keep on your radar, and he's at a pretty decent price at 6,500. And you could also play Blake Griffin against Houston. If you want this game to stay close, you're probably going to have to hope Blake Griffin has a pretty solid game here. Now, he sucked the past 2 games. I played him versus Dallas, and he was awful. Only 1 for 10 from deep and 21 points, then 11 points the game before that. But he should be able to have a solid game here versus Houston. They're pretty rough versus power forwards. I believe they're one of the worst teams in the league. So Blake Griffin would make sense in GPPs. I don't know if we'll make my cash game lineup, but he is pretty cheap. What was his price last game? 6,700. I believe this might be the cheapest he's been all season. So if you want to buy a low opportunity, you could play Blake Griffin at 6,400. I wouldn't mind that. He should be better than that on most nights. But let's get to some more value options because we're going to definitely need them. So let's go down to these Rocket wing, small forward guys. So we could look at Daniel House. He's 4,100. I think he's okay. I mean, if we're going to want to fit in George and Harden, we need some value guys. And with no Westbrook out, it just opens up some more minutes for these Rocket guys, the secondary options on the Rockets. House should see about 35 minutes in this game. And he's been pretty bad recently, but the minutes are secure. I mean, 34, 26, 34, 30. Now, no Russell Westbrook. And then the last 4 games, though, 17 points, 17, 12, 9. But it's going to open up some more usage on the court with no Westbrook. So I could see him being pretty popular tonight. He does great out as a pretty good point per dollar option, especially if you're going to get 30-plus minutes. So I don't mind Daniel House. I do like his teammate Ben McLemore better, though, at 4,600. I think he presents you more upside. And he's a little bit more expensive, but I think the upside's going to be well worth it. His minutes have been around 30 minutes per game, and he should see that, again, with no Russell Westbrook on the court. And the guy's pretty good at getting buckets. I mean, we've seen it this season. 6 for 7 from 3, 2 for 7, 4 for 13, 5 for 9. He's not afraid to shoot threes versus Toronto. 8 for 17 from deep, 6 for 11. So I like Ben McLemore here. He definitely has more upside than Daniel House. If he can get hot from deep, I think he's going to become a pretty solid play here. And, with no Westbrook on the court this season, he's been averaging 0.9 points per minute. I don't think 30 points is out of the realm of possibility. And at 4,600, could definitely see him being popular. So I do have a lot of interest in Ben McLemore. You could also play PJ Tucker. He's 4,700, but he's I mean, he's okay. I mean, he's got 30-point upside. He's going to play near 40 minutes tonight. Just not the most exciting play in the world, but he'll probably hit a couple corner threes. So PJ Tucker, definitely, you can play any of these small forwards on the Houston Rockets. I have no problem with that. You could also look at Derek Jones, who I forget his price. I think it's 3,800 going up against Dallas. Not the most exciting play in the world. It never feels great playing him, but the Heat are going to be without Justin Winslow, Goran Dragic, Dion Waiters, and Hero is dealing with an illness, and he's been pretty bad. So he should see about 30 minutes tonight, and he's been solid the past 2 games. 33 points and 24 points. The one game helped with overtime, but gonna give me about 30 minutes here. He's been about 0.78 points per minute. You get what you pay for, but if we're going to want to fit in Harden and Paul George and Bradley Beal, we're gonna have to spend down a little bit. And I think Derek Jones is a pretty solid option at 3,800. The matchup's not great versus Dallas, but you can't be too picky here. And the last guy, not my favorite play in the world, but you could look at Harkless just because they're going against Chicago, not one of the best defensive teams in the league. He's actually been solid recently, getting over 30 minutes per game. So 27 points, 27, 24, 16. Honestly, not too bad. He does, in general, just suck on a points per minute basis. But, the minutes should be secure, especially with Kawhi Leonard. So definitely someone you could keep on your radar. But after that, it gets kind of gross. But as of right now, I'm looking to plug in James Harden, Russell Westbrook. Not Russell Westbrook, sorry. James Harden and Paul George. I don't know how easy it is to fit all these guys in. I just want to play around here. So Ben McLemore we could fit in. We could fit in Daniel House. They give me 5,000 left. It's actually not bad. We could probably fit in Derek Jones, and we could fit in some other guys as well. Maybe some more value open up throughout the day. We'll have to see. But definitely like starting my lineup with James Harden, Paul George. And I do like Ben McLemore quite a bit as well. So anyway, guys, I'll leave you with that. Sorry this video is coming out later. I had a lot of NFL stuff to do, though. I'll see you guys in the next video. Wish you guys the best of luck. Have a great Saturday. And again, check out the NFL content if you haven't already. Remember to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and check out the NBA content on my Patreon as well.